All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger, and with me is Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hello there. Today we're here to punish the feelings of Marvel fans from all over the world because I've got a feeling that we have a very unprepared and poorly thought out podcast and review of The Punisher.
The
Punisher,
Punisher,
one more kill?
one last kill. It's a Marvel one-shot, one last kill. So Jon Bernthal is back. He has been the Punisher for quite some time. I think the first time that he was the Punisher was on the Netflix show back in 2019, maybe? I don't know. Might be earlier than that. I can't remember.
Maybe.
Actually, no, it was definitely before that because either way. But Bernthal, he is back. He has had a hell of a decade, I would say, in terms of a lot of the roles he's been in. But with Punisher, I think the big thing for this is, okay, we got something Marvel. Is Disney Marvel going to mess this up? Because it is the Punisher. And before we get too deep into it, Mark, why don't you just tell the audience what your origin is with the Punisher?
My origin with the Punisher is the Spider-Man cartoon from Fox Kids in the 90s. Eventually, you understand that he was a character in some Marvel stuff. I did not read the book, The Punisher. I was never a big war-based PTSD story person. It tends to be somewhat depressing, like the show. But I knew of the Punisher and never really a mainstream character for anything for anybody that wasn't Dolph Lundgren. I find it really ironic that multiple episodes this month I get to utter the words Dolph Lundgren, but that movie wasn't very good either. But yeah, my origin is this is the best actor that's played the Punisher that I can think of. But
okay.
Yeah, not Travolta, buddy.
Well, Travolta was never the Punisher, so okay. But yeah.
Wait, there was somebody that was just like ridiculous. Like, why are you the Punisher?
Tom Jane is arguably the worst Punisher out of everyone.
Yeah, I would not disagree.
So my origin with the Punisher is I was never really a big fan of him in the comics, but one of my favorite What If episodes was What If the Punisher joined S.H.I.E.L.D. And I've talked about this on the podcast before. Really great comic, and he basically just goes nuts on S.H.I.E.L.D. and kills everyone. And I never, as much as I liked Dolph Lundgren, I never watched the Punisher movie with him in it, and I did not like the Thomas Jane Punisher in what was it, like 97 or whatever it was, and
2004.
Oh my God, really was it? Why was it so bad? I mean, but I didn't like that. I loved Punisher Warzone with the best Punisher actor, Ray Stevenson. That was a campy movie, but he was, in my opinion, to that point, the best Punisher, and it was better than the Thomas Jane Punisher movie. It was completely bananas. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a legacy revisit on that, but Bernthal, when he was a Punisher, I didn't watch the TV show. I think I maybe caught the first season, maybe a couple years after the fact. But I like Bernthal as an actor, but he's just a little too grunty for me sometimes. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, that's my origin. What about your expectations for this movie? Did you have any expectations going in when we talked about it and we were going to review this for the podcast?
So the reason I suggested this, one, because hey, there's new Marvel, but I did not watch, as many of you know, the Daredevil TV show, nor did I watch the Punisher TV show, because at the time I didn't have a good why, not characters I was super interested in, and did not tie into the MCU. So I've been punished enough with Star Wars EU stuff that I only have so much gray matter to hold all that. So I wrote them off. They were Netflix shows. It's fine. Everything I've heard is they're solid. And I was like, okay, I wonder what they're going to do with the Punisher now. And I'm like, he's rumored to be in the Spider-Man movie. If he's not in Spider-Man, he's probably in Doomsday, because, you know, if fucking Alan Cummings is going to be in it, they can get the Punisher. So I was just like, let's watch it. Let's see where this character is. Maybe they're kicking off a new storyline. So I was, you know, like, not dreading watching it, just out there with a feeler expectation of new beginnings and getting me excited. That was the expectation. What about you? What did you expect with one last kill? Did you expect him to kill one?
I did. I expected him to just go after one last person. And I quickly found out at the beginning of the episode that's like, that's not going to happen, because he already did all the killing. And so I was thinking it was going to be the last person of the crime family. Now, keep in mind, I didn't watch the TV show, so maybe this happened in the TV show and he killed all those members of the family in the TV show. I don't think he did, but either way, I thought that, okay, there's going to be one last person of the crime family, or maybe, like, wait a second, it was really Carmine Falcone that was in charge of everything. Like, you know, one of those things where it's like,
That's
you
funny.
thought you killed him, but it was really someone else. It was like, you know, the Batista, like, you really need to kill Thanos type of line that doesn't pay off in the end. So that's what I thought was going to happen. But I was thinking that, we're probably not going to see a whole lot of violence or a whole lot of killing in this. Boy, was I wrong. But either way, yeah, I didn't expect it to be bad. I expected Bernthal to do a good job. You know, he is a great actor. I like him in The Bear. I liked him in a lot of other movies like Fury, along with his role in The Walking Dead. And I mean, The Wolf of Wall Street, great character in that too. So he has a type that he plays, though. He needs to be pissed off, and he needs to be angry, and he needs to have a lot of mental anguish. And that's what Bernthal is good at.
I mean, yes, and I think he's got range. I really liked him in The Accountant and The Accountant 2.
Same character. He plays the same character, just not as angry and not as
He was
not
funnier.
as mentally unstable.
Funnier in those. But in this, he definitely was disturbingly disturbed for me. What you were talking about, like, did they kill this family off? Does this just take up right at the end of the series? I don't think so. Because I IMDb'd that shit while I was watching it. Like, what is happening? Why is Mother doing pull-ups? And just off the jump, the lead-in with the fucking Da Zing just being all hard ass with the beginning of it was awesome. It may have been the high point, or one of the
Da Zing.
Who? Wait, no, I don't know what
Da Zing. Fuck yeah, Da Zing got bangers. Holy shit! Good God, podcast audience, this is
Danzig,
unreal.
Whatever.
Danzig. Danzig, the fucking guy who wanted to play Wolverine.
He wanted to play Wolverine?
He did.
That's awesome.
But wait, hold on. So, like, I thought the same thing as you did. When Da Zing came on and was rocking Mother, I was like, fuck yeah, this is going to be good.
And then he's doing pull-ups, and then they stop, and his hands are bleeding, and you're like, is he getting tortured? What's going on? And then he's just torturing himself because he punished.
As many people
and he ran out of red thread.
Yeah, it was, I put that in my notes, that Danzig with Mother rocking it. You know, Frank Castle grunting and doing pull-ups, I'm in. Punks kill a dog, Castle is going to go John Wick style on them. And yeah, that's my initial thoughts. And then I stopped taking notes after that, because I was like, you know what, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy it. And whatever comes to me on this podcast. So
I have very few notes, and I literally, I've only, other than the Mother kickoff was solid, I've got 4 more bullet points for the entirety of the show, which I watched literally right before this podcast, because I like it to be fresh for you, buddy. So I've got to, I'm just going to go right. I'm going to skip ahead, because why sugarcoat it? My next note is Judge Dredd 3, because like, other than the PTSD, the entire movie is Judge Dredd 3. I'm stuck in the tower. This crazy lady's trying to get me killed. I'm going to fight my way out. No signal flare, though.
Yeah, it was.
And that's Judge Dredd with Carl Urban, not the highly underrated and amazing Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone.
Good
He's
God,
my Judge Dredd. He is the.
I'm glad I haven't watched that movie because I just
Oh.
hear awful things about it. But
We need to get a bet going for you to watch Judge Dredd.
well, then you got to make a bet that you can actually win because you have the worst track record. And you know what? There's quite a few bets that you have not even paid up on. There's so many wagers that have happened. And even though I've made you watch a few bad movies, there's still so many more bad movies that I can make you and force you to watch because you've lost so many bets.
Listen,
Audiences stopped counting.
It's not my fault that you don't cash in on your bets, because I've never told you I won't watch something or won't record something or won't work with somebody. I am a yes man.
I have very low patience for awful movies, but if I do lose a bet, then I will do it. But like if you throw out like a movie that sucks, that I don't want to, like, no, of course not. But
not anymore.
Either way,
not anymore. For those that have explored our back catalog, I have done some damage to Dan's psyche on certain movies that were full of trouble.
And apparently the ones that I have made you watch that were good movies, you had an awful time. So either way. But yeah, so like you go right into it. So I thought one of the funniest things about this one shot is that Angela from Who's the Boss is the mom.
Is that who that is?
That's the mom, yeah.
Who spits right in his mouth?
Yep. Hey, Angela, it's the boss. But yeah, so Judith Light from any Who's the Boss fans was in this. Not looking bad, you know. She looks pretty good for her age. I would have guessed that she's probably in her mid to late 70s. I don't know if that's true or not, but who knows? I'm just going to say that's the truth. So if not, then whatever. But I think the overall plot of this, it was a little heavy, right? Because you go into a little bit of the PTSD, the demons that are haunting Frank, right? So that's him. Is like he's ready to end his life, and he's about to go Martin Riggs at the cemetery, but he starts to see stuff. So in those hallucinogenic states, he decides to not kill himself because he started hallucinating about stuff that wasn't so bad. About his daughter. And I can't, you know what, I'm making light of it, but I guess I could never, at this point in my life right now, I can't relate to it, but I can understand it. Like Bernthal does a good job of making you feel like, yeah, he's done some bad shit and he's really hurting. And so he wants to get out of this life. But I don't know. What were your thoughts? Was it too heavy for you for a Marvel property?
I don't think it's too heavy for me. But what I will say is not something I would share with my kid yet. Like, and I took him to Mandalorian Grogu, where arguably more people met their demise. But it's just a different level of like animalistic, malicious murder. It's a level of heavy violence that, you know, it's a level of heavy violence that I'm not bought into the story on. And the schizophrenia part is kind of weird to me. Not weird, but just like everybody hates him. Why are you remembering all the people that hate you? I don't know. All his demons are not his finer spirits, I guess. But I don't know. What about you? Were you stoked on a Wiccan movie from Marvel, or?
Once it started getting into the action, I was into it for sure. But I think they needed to, for anyone who has not watched Bernthal as the Punisher in Daredevil or the Punisher series, they're not going to understand where this character is coming from. So I think they did a good job of kind of laying it out there as to, in case you didn't know the story, whole family got killed and it was all by the mob, so he's going to kill the mob. And I think that's fair. that's something that I kind of pick on for Star Wars, is like, I don't know who the fuck these people are, and they're just dropping us right in the middle of things, and there's no explanation. What the hell's a parsec? Like, I pick on that from a Star Wars perspective, but we've had the conversations before where Marvel has almost gotten to that point to where it's like, yeah, unless you've seen these 26 movies, you're gonna be missing some things, right? But for Punisher, I can't say that a majority of the people listening to this podcast, or even a majority of people that watch Marvel movies, have watched the Punisher TV show or seen him in the other shows. Yes, there's the Marvel fans that are out there, but like, yeah, I think that they did a good job of kind of laying it out there. So that way you don't have to guess as to who the Punisher is and why is he a tortured soul. They lay it all out there.
That's a very good point, because one thing I did not do when it came to this one shot is think of it as an origin story, because it was framed as the closing of a chapter. And when you look at somebody who's been doing the role for 7 years, usually they're not like reinvigorating their character to continue to move forward, unless they're Hugh Jackman. So I if I change my perception a bit and think about this from the side of setting the table to springboard forward and filling in those that don't have 2 seasons worth of time to catch up on the character before you see him in Spider-Man, before you see him in Doomsday, I'm not mad about this, because that puts the one shot of Punisher in the same one shot of like Vampire by Night or Werewolf by Night as an origin, and even like frames the really short Oscar Isaac series, Moon Knight. I think this was done better than Moon Knight if what you're really trying to do is give the origin of a character. Like, they got it done in 50 tight minutes.
Yeah. And I don't even know if that was necessarily the case. Maybe not. I don't know, but like it is something that's interesting because, number one, I don't think he's going to be in Doomsday. I think Punisher is just a too different of a character to go up against Doctor Doom. Like, I mean, me personally, I just don't see him teaming up at all with anyone, and I think he's too different of a fighter to go up against, like Bucky Barnes or the any of the Thunderbolts, right? Like, it just doesn't seem like it to me. So I'm going to say, I'm throwing my prediction out there. Barenthal as the Punisher is not in Doomsday, but he is in Spider-Man because we see him in the trailers. And apparently this is sequentially right before where he's at on Spider-Man. So it's kind of like that like, this, in case any of those people that are watching Spider-Man Brand New Day, they don't know who the Punisher is, they can kind of see where his journey was from that. So I think the overall thing that surprised me, though, was the amount of other characters that were in this. So Judith Light is the mom of the mob, the crime family. She was pretty good. She was solid. I really dug her delivery of just kind of building it up like, oh, my family was all murdered and you're the asshole that did it, and so I'm gonna hire everyone and they're all gonna kill you. Like, I thought that was good, because at no point was I thinking like, who the hell is this? Like, this is stupid. Like, she was like, oh man, this is a highly scarred woman that had to endure and witness and be right there as her family was just executed. And so that was like, wow, that's pretty deep, and good for Judith Light for giving that performance. But also Deborah Ann Wall from Daredevil fame and True Blood fame and all that stuff. So she reprised her role as Karen Page. So that was kind of surprising. And I always just like seeing her because she's just like a really good representative of geek and nerd culture. She plays Dungeons and Dragons. She even described to Barenthal on what Dungeons and Dragons was on his podcast. I don't know if you've ever seen that clip. It's kind of a nice little thing. But yeah, I always just like seeing her as well. So All the other side characters, though, in this had something to add. Besides, like, I'm not talking about the people that just got executed by Frank. I'm talking about, like, the bodega owner and the daughter and even, like, that guy that was, like, kind of yelling and almost like Hispanic Warren from There's Something About Mary. Like, that's what he seemed like to me. Like, he was just, like, really just pretty disturbed. And, it gave a good preview as to, like, the chaos that the city's in. Once again, Marvel kind of pointing out the mental health seriousness in this country. And it's just like, yeah, it's kind of a deep take. And I was surprised that they went there with it. What about you?
Uh, First of all, I know why they won't put him in Doomsday, because he looks too much like Frank Grillo. So they just confuse Rumlow and the Punisher. Like, are we sure they're not brothers?
Yeah, pretty sure. Pretty sure.
But I was in a world or in a universe where there's a significant amount of heroing going on. The fact that one area and neighborhood would be that bad and nobody would do anything about it to me, right? Like, that's like some pretty heavy level shit.
It is.
But and like nobody's gonna go stop Frank Castle.
I
But
mean, for the projects that he's in, I mean, I guess that's not too far off. I mean, we've seen movies where, like whether it's a crime syndicate, a cartel, someone owns like a part of a city. I mean, you watch Training Day, like you roll into a certain neighborhood and it's like, sorry, the cops just don't. It's not going to get stuff done here. It's just like the streets rule this town. So that's where I'm thinking for this. I wasn't too bothered by it.
that part of it was a little interesting to me. But I also did not get any of the Easter eggs that you just talked about. I'm finally the guy who has no idea what's going on. So it's interesting to me that this was. I'm glad that it had fan service in it. The only person that I got that was a regular was Frank. I mean, the rest of it is, you assume that he knows the shop owner. I know nothing about that whole thing. But
Oh, I don't either. I
yeah,
just knew it was like I'm not. I don't know if it has anything to do with like Punisher lore. I just thought everyone had something to add in that wasn't just like, I didn't view it as filler. Like
okay.
it's like, oh, okay, well, there's a little girl. All right. Like, no, there's a little bit of correlation to what he experienced. And obviously, like, she reminds him of his daughter, which is a stretch, right? Like, I think like a lot of parents have a tendency to do that, especially if they've experienced loss or any type of heartache. They will just project onto another child as if like that's like my son, that's like my daughter. But I think this was done very well in this instance.
Well, yeah, and as a parent, like you want to stand up for little kids that are being treated poorly. Like, you never want to see that. So it definitely humanizes the character. But looking at it from the relaunch perspective or from the reset perspective, it definitely kind of changes my view of it, because it was entertaining to me as somebody who knew nothing about what was going on. And you just brought up so many little Easter eggs and people that you recognized as like an actual character, like a recurring character or a significant character. So I'm that's solid for me. Like, that's a good to hear again, because this is my first Punisher since Dolph Lundgren.
Is it really? Like, you
I
didn't
mean,
watch the Thomas
most
Jane one?
recently. I probably watched parts of it, but I do
I
not
did too.
remember
I didn't
watching the whole
give a
thing.
yeah, I didn't give a shit about
Like,
that movie. That sucked.
no, no. I would be surprised if you didn't give a shit about this show, though, because I feel like you just found an extra, like, real short, bite-sized John Wick property. Because the one thing I will say about this is it impressed me, except for one part. It impressed me with how well the uh, the choreography with the weapons were done. Like, dude was checking, loading, like, the whole movement was just very Wickish to me. I put Wickish in there. It's not a word, but it's one of my bullet points.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, of course, I love the gunplay. I love action scenes. I like martial arts. And I like the brutality and just real grittiness of everyone's coming after this guy and he's going to do whatever it takes. Like that whole scene in his apartment where he is just like stealing the shotguns and he's using that, and then there's like I think it was a grenade that went off, and he like I don't. It's one thing that just like didn't make sense to
Yeah.
me is like why did he push over the bookcase like that was
Shrapnel.
gonna would it really matter?
It was a pipe
Because he was
bomb.
standing behind a wall.
Blow back
If he
time.
was concerned about that, then he should probably stand in front of the bookcase in front of the wall as opposed to push the bookcase over in front of the door. But hey, Frank
So I want
Castle.
to talk about the apartment, because when he's taking everybody's guns and disarming them all up in the apartment, he had a shitload more guns that were only a shitty master lock away.
Not enough time, man. Not enough time.
He had enough time to push a bookcase over.
Yeah, I know. And see, that's if he wouldn't have done that, he probably may have had some time
There
to
you
go to
go. He could have got his body armor, the whole thing.
Exactly. But yeah, like even like just the chase, and when he steps outside, like after the pipe bomb goes off, he steps outside and he just sees chaos. And I think it's almost like a reflection of him just realizing that it's like, oh, I caused all this. It's kind of messed up that I caused all this. Oh well, and then like just jumps right back in it. Like I think that it takes a moment for him to be like, yeah, like he's not just a means to an end. He is the bringer of chaos, and whether he intended to or not, he brought it there. And so that's the world he lives in. Is like, yeah, he might be trying to right the wrongs and avenge those who have been wronged in life or have been murdered, but dude, it's arguably he could be the whole reason why that town or that project is just getting blown up. Is it his fault? Is it Frank's fault?
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I think that many people share the blame, not just Frank, but I still go back to the Judge Dredd reference. That whole time when he steps out and sees the chaos, all I can see in my head is the middle portion of the apartment complex in that Judge Dredd movie, and I'm just like, "Oh, okay." And he goes fucking John Wick through that shit, knocking them out and down. And I don't think he caused the chaos. Like, I think this is the last cleanup of the chaos, because, all of those people are the reason that the city is terrible. It's terrible, Chuck.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Was there anything that Martha'd you about this one shot?
There is one specific thing that Martha me, and I'm wondering if you caught it. But they did such a good job with camera work on this as he's moving through and shooting him up. They do all the falls and all the things. And they do as far as I can tell, one CGI edit of something that could have easily been done practically. And it looked horrendous.
When he fell onto the garbage can or wherever it was?
When he goes reverse cowgirl shooting down, falling on the vent cover thing.
Reverse cowgirl.
And it's like, well, he didn't do that stunt.
Yeah, so the funny thing is a lot of people were criticizing that, like it's, like, oh, poor, like, did they have to do CGI? Why didn't they do it practically? Like, they did do it practically. According to what I read, they did do it practically, but they CGI'd Barenthal's face on the stuntman, and that's what made it look shittier.
No.
Which...
they CGI'd his face and, like, 1997 Pixar body.
Yeah.
There is what they did.
So that's the gripe on it, huh?
They used ChatGPT to do that shit.
I think it would have been better if, like,
They
have you seen some of the AI shit?
Palantir, like, come on, pay the subscription, Disney.
Fair enough. I mean, I could see it, and every time I watched it after that, I was like, yeah, that's pretty freaking bad. I happened to see a headline about it, before I watched it, and I was like, not gonna read it, forget it. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, it's warranted. So I can see why that's the case. Nothing really Marthaed me about it. I think the only thing that Marthaed me was I was on TikTok and I heard someone did a video. It was like, when you just watch The Punisher One Last Kill, and all that happens is this, and it's this guy just acting like Barenthal as Frank Castle, and he's just going and like just grunting, and it's like, oh, okay, I see where that came from now, because he does it a lot. He does it a lot throughout the entire thing, and I couldn't. It just took me out of it every time he'd do that. I was okay with the pull-ups at the beginning, but as it continued on and on and on, like I get it, that's his thing that he does as Frank Castle, or at least Barenthal's portrayal of him, but it's just like, man, I could have done with a few, maybe a dozen less grunts, and I would have been okay.
You know, it is what it is, the grunting, but the bad CGI just made me think Dan's gonna hate that part. Like, that was really my main thought. Like, oh, Dan was probably loving all of this fighting, and then he got pissed.
You know what it looked like? It looked like the Flash CGI, and I hated the Flash CGI, but it didn't bother me as much as this because when I read that it was done practically and they just, did that to his face just to make him look like Barenthal, I was like, it's lazy. It's not good, but I'll let it slide.
This is worse than the Cavill upper lip.
Yeah.
Like, this is worse.
Is it though? I mean,
is.
it's outdated for sure. It's not good. It's not good. But is it worse? I don't know.
Yes, it absolutely is. And given it doesn't matter, like, this is a Disney Plus show. If this is the deepest knit we're picking, like,
Yeah,
good
it's
job,
fine.
Marvel. I think Rotten Tomatoes, you pulled the scores, like, was very favorable to this.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, like, I think Rotten Tomatoes 73% fresh, 81% popcorn meter, so generally favorable reviews.
I mean,
But
that's more than generally favorable to me because, like, usually you don't get for something like this that is very, like, kind of niche or niche, you don't get critics and,
yeah,
like, you normally just get
it's one or the other.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But to get 73% from critics, I mean, that's pretty significant, and I think that speaks to the acting depth that we don't get a lot in superhero or in some of the things that we review. There's great actors in it. I Love You 3000 got everybody. But for a 50-minute, like, one shot, the grunting aside, pretty solid depth of acting ability there.
Well, Mark, it seems like you gave this Marvel one shot a lot of praise, but I got a question for you. When it comes to the Punisher One Last Kill, can you do this all day?
So I've given this a lot of praise, and I don't know if that tipped my hand or not, but I did not watch the Punisher series before this, and I'm not gonna watch the Punisher series after this. It's a good one shot. It's not gonna be something I two-shot anytime soon. While I appreciated it, I cannot do it all day.
Fair enough.
But I'm not the only person on this podcast. There's two people that both has the same question, and that question is, when it comes to Punisher one shot, Danny, can you do this all day?
Action's my thing, right? And it's got plenty of it. I thought the gun work was excellent. The grittiness and raw appeal of just taking down thugs left and right, whether it's a gun to the face, breaking the butt off of an AK-47 because you clocked a guy too hard with it. That's like some hardcore stuff right there. Um, Barenthal did a good job of being the tortured soul of Frank Castle, and his take is a little bit different than what my preference is, but he still does a really good job doing it. Now, that being said, music had some bangers in there. It really got the mood going. So all arrows are pointing a certain direction, but I gotta say, I cannot do it all day because I feel like if I want to get my action fill, I can watch a Wick movie, I can watch The Ballerina, I could watch quite a few movies that are better. The Raid, which is very similar to the Carl Urban Judge Dredd, where it all takes place in a tower, essentially, like an apartment complex. I would rather watch that. So yeah, I just can't do it all day because I'm not going to scream from the mountaintops like, you need to watch The Punisher. It's the best. It's fucking great. Like, it's good. It's very good. If you're a Punisher fan, you should definitely watch it. If you're a Marvel fan, I don't think you need to watch it. If you want to appreciate the craft, sure. But it's not something that I recommend to everyone. It's not a must see. And that is the reasoning as to why I cannot do it all day.
Yeah. I mean, that says it all. That was more of a one shot than this character did in this. He had one shot, two shot, three shot, lots of shots.
Back
Lots of
shots,
kills. Not just one.
everyone. There we go. So, but that wraps it up for this episode of the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I'm Dan, the part-time Avenger. That's Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hey, don't forget, y'all, let us know what you thought. Hit us in the comments on any and all socials at I Can Do This All Day podcast. Let us know what you think. Let us know if we should do another bet so Dan can watch a Dolph Lundgren movie. You know, let me know. Let us know. But don't forget, like, subscribe. Let us know if you can do us all day without the suggestive nature there. No reverse cowgirl. Well, yeah. Excited for the next Marvel thing that hopefully isn't a character that I don't love.
I was gonna grunt at the end of this episode, but I think the reverse cowgirl thing just ruined it for me. So we'll see you next time, everyone.